This is your friend and mine, TheFilmTwit, coming to you live and direct from the depths of the Twit Cave with more Marvel heroes on this Marvel morning. Let's get started. As you can see, I am still Nightcrawler, and I am still joined by my lovely assistant, my co-pilot in this adventure, Mr. Frenzalo.
Howdy.
How are you doing this morning, sir?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty well. Before we get started, I need to bring up some news here that I was informed of in my social chat here, and I'm going to read it off verbatim. July 1st, 2017, the following heroes will no longer be available to purchase with G's. Mr. Fantastic, Invisible Woman, Thing, Human Torch, and Silver Surfer. You have until 6/28 at 2 p.m. PDT to purchase those heroes with Eternity Splinters. This also includes all Fantastic Four or Surfer costumes and any future Foundation costumes for any heroes. Please head to Marvel Heroes forums for more information. So, that's a pretty big deal. The game's been running for 4 years and they've never removed a character until now. Obviously, this has something to do with the rights deals with Fox and their inability or I'm searching for a word here, but I can't find it. Their unwillingness to release the rights back to Marvel. Which has never made sense to me because they can't seem to make a decent Fantastic Four movie that makes any money. You'd think that they would just focus on X-Men and let Marvel have the Fantastic Four back. But here we are. Frenzalo, do you have any take on the situation?
Yeah, I think that from what I've heard, and like I said before in the past, my experience with comics is not as long as some others, but from what I've heard/read, Marvel's been doing their best to bury the Fantastic Four for the past decade or so as a result of their earlier agreement with trying to make money with their licenses, licensing out the X-Men, licensing out the Fantastic Four, and since they've started the Marvel Cinematic Universe or Cosmic Universe, depending on who you ask, they've been trying to bury a Fantastic Four because they just can't do the movie that they want to do, or movies anyway. So one thing that I did hear was that the reason that the Guardians of the Galaxy are in the current storyline that they're telling in the movies is as a result of not being able to use the Fantastic Four. So I'm sure that there is probably an alternate universe where everyone's enjoying the Fantastic Four as part of the current MCU.
Well, I mean, we could armchair write and armchair produce 1,000 different movies as far as that's concerned. But the fact of the matter is, this is completely unprecedented. They've never removed a character from the game before, and it sounds like they're hitting the delete button on these guys pretty hard, giving people less than a month to get their affairs in order before they are effectively removed from the game wholesale, which means that they'll probably never show up in the console release, which goes live on the 30th of this month.
Yeah, that's true. I know one thing that's interesting, which is the opposite of this, is that the Marvel-themed deck-building card game, Legendary, is having one of their earliest expansions, the Fantastic Four expansion, reprinted and re-released this month. So that is odd that in that game, a expansion that has been out of print for years is being reprinted, but in this game, they are removing the characters. Part of it makes me wonder as well if part of it has to do with them knowing that there's a thing and decided that they didn't want to go through whatever loops they needed to do to get the rights to continue to have the characters on the game in their current form. And this is a good way to get people to spend money.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, That's an angle that I hadn't thought of, but that is true.
Yeah, because I mean, they're not. Let's be honest. Fantastic Four is neat, but they're not, and they can't be very high up on the character purchases.
Invisible Woman is off and on pretty popular with the community. Fantastic Four, Mr. Fantastic is often pretty top tier as far as damage goes. Thing is widely considered the most boring character in the entire game, and Human Torch is meh.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of run the gamut, and Silver Surfer, who's also wrapped up in this whole nonsense, is one of the fire and forget heroes, kind of like Scarlet Witch and Storm, but even more so because he has a power that you turn on and then move over enemies and they die. So, he's crazy powerful, but he's also widely considered to be very boring because you don't have to do much to succeed. It's one of those, you can make him as interesting as possible, but why would you put the effort in if all you have to do is turn on a power and run over an enemy?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So that news out of the way, we're going to continue onward. We're going to try to get you geared up, as opposed to getting myself geared up. I have not had a chance to look up any builds for Scarlet Witch yet, but I'm pulling them up right now. This is kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing. I didn't decide to do this until literally 5 minutes ago while we were having the Fantastic Four discussion. So let me pull up marvelheroes.info, which is a great resource for anyone out there who's trying to learn how to play the game and is stuck with our terrible job of doing so. We're going to go to Scarlet Witch.
Just out of curiosity, are they... Let me see here.
So we want the Hand of Doom, Dr. Doom Medallion, Gem of the Cursed, Cybernetic Implant, really? Warlock's Eye. Have you bought a legendary yet?
Bought a legendary?
Yes.
No, the only legendary that I have is the one that I acquired during fighting.
Okay. Wow, they just got a regular cosmic for her cape slot. That's weird. Okay, that's a joke. Okay, so I'm looking at this Scarlet Witch build, and there's a couple things on it that you can't get. One is an item that was released a long time ago called the Stone of Jordan, which was a Diablo 2 reference. Which is no longer available, unfortunately. And another is the Fragment of Twilight, which is a unique that you get from the Muspelheim raid. So we're not going to be able to get that for you right now either. But a couple of the things that we need, and the possibility to get your uniques that you need, are in the Dr. Doom terminal. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do Dr. Doom on hard.
Cool.
You need his medallion, and you need an artifact that he drops. And I'm going to warn you ahead of time, this is a long terminal, so we're probably going to be able to pull off one of these and then call it a morning. Just for your reference, the build is the Mixed Chaos build by Sir Neris. I'm sure I butchered that.
Mixed Chaos. Okay.
It's the first build on MarvelHeroes.info for Scarlet Witch.
I think that might be the one that I followed the powers for.
Okay. And also, we're just full of piss and vinegar today. It is Wednesday, which means it's New Comic Day. I recently just got some very good financial news, and so I splurged and bought pretty much all of the comics. I bought quite a few of the ones that came out today. Didn't do any back issues, but that's pretty much because everything that I've been reading, I've been keeping up with. There haven't been any ones that have been sort of on my radar, but not entirely on the list.
I've been struggling with back issues. I find that if you miss out on it, you're pretty much SOL until they put it to a trade.
That's true with print. One of the benefits of digital is that the back issues are always available.
That's true. Take that, shield agent.
Now, when you're doing this in the story, all these artillery cannons that were blowing up have a purpose. But as far as the terminal is concerned, we could be skipping them. That being said, there's really no reason not to blow them up, and breaking stuff is fun.
Breaking stuff is fun. I agree with that. So what of the stuff that you picked up today you're looking forward to reading through?
Well, Action Comics number 982. The current run on Action Comics has been absolutely fantastic. They're doing a storyline where Superman had to bust into Belle Reef prison, which kind of sort of crossed over with Suicide Squad. It didn't actually cross over in the comic, but the events of Action Comics have repercussions in Suicide Squad and vice versa. So that was neat. It's always neat when the comics have a sort of a soft crossover like that.
That makes sense.
Other than that, Cable number 2 comes out today, which I know you're interested in as well.
Yep.
We've got Black Panther, which is looking to be pretty good. Captain Marvel, which is part of Secret Empire, and I'm really annoyed by that because it's been a comic that I've really enjoyed. But the whole Secret Empire thing is just not doing anything for me. New Transformers comic, Transformers Lost Light, came out today.
How did your podcast discussing the crazy crossover they did go?
It went pretty well. That's actually up on the Radulich Broadcasting Network, which is blogtalkradio.411 or .com/411mania. Myself and a bunch of other people were all discussing the big IDW crossover Revolutions, which was how IDW started their little shared universe with G.I. Joe and Mask and Transformers and all the toys you remember playing with as a kid.
Right. I'm curious as to why it's taken so long for them to realize that having shared universes become just one universe makes the most sense. I know I personally am interested in expanding any story or mythos or character or anything else in any way possible. Even television shows that make a mild reference to a situation that happened in a movie will result in me going, oh, maybe I'll give this a shot then.
I think that the indie comics are sort of leery about doing it because of how bad it went for Image with the whole Bloodshot and or not Bloodshot, but Youngblood and all that Rob Liefeld stuff in the 90s that really fell on its face. It's more expensive, rights-wise, to have a licensed shared universe. But IDW has been working very closely with Hasbro, and that's been helping with the financial side of things.
Well, Hasbro's never one to shy away from making money.
That's true. And that's why I'm surprised. That's why I'm very surprised we haven't seen a resurgence of more of the shared universe toys. Like, we haven't seen any Mask toys hit the shelves.
Those, I'm sure, are in the works. Hasbro's been re-releasing a lot of their old games that they have the rights to, which is pretty neat for people who are in the hobby board gaming hobby, I guess you could say. They've re-released Hasbro owns Wizards of the Coast, I believe.
Yes.
Or the other way around. And so there's a lot of licensing there, obviously. And they own a lot of popular older games. But recently they've re-released a game from couple of games from the 60s, I believe, is when they were released originally. Acquire, which is a... well, they're both stock games, essentially. And then Pit, which is also a stock traded game. Pit is supposed to be simulate trading futures on the floor, on the where everybody's got everything in hand and they're going back and forth, and you're trying to get all of one type of commodity. And then Acquire is buying and selling businesses.
Watch your health.
Oh, hey, look at that. I forgot I had that. But they seem to be getting headlong into the board game the hobby again, not just producing what you'd expect, but getting into more complicated ones. They also own a company named Avalon Hill, which was really popular in the day. So, and they publish the Haunting on, or wait, the House on Haunted Hill, or whatever that game is.
Yeah, Avalon Hill.
Betrayal at House on the Hill.
If I'm not mistaken, Avalon Hill is more along the lines of the adventure board games.
Yeah, they've got more. You'll see more of their I say hobby board gaming, as in it's more complicated. You have to spend more time learning rules and things like that.
Okay,
I got something over here.
One of the cool things about this this terminal and the boss fight that it coincides with at the end of the storyline is it's got some minor branching pathways. We went one way of a branching choice, and we're going to double back and go the other way so we can get the maximum enemies defeated.
Oh, okay. What? I don't. You said, is this part of the main story?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
I must have just stopped early.
Almost all the terminals are excised directly from the main story. The only ones that aren't are the Age of Ultron terminal, the Times Square one we played the other day, and the Caecilius terminal, which is new. They released that as an event when Doctor Strange came out and then made it a terminal. But other than that, they're all taken directly from the core story mode. Way to go. Thanks for taking away all my fun.
You're welcome.
I had just started my combo. Let me look at my list here of all the things that I got. Wonder Woman's new storyline starts today, which is cool. Wasn't huge on the last storyline until the very end, and the way it ended brought everything all together, and it made me realize how much I enjoyed the story in the first place.
That's interesting.
Doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, but it was very good for her character, the way it ended. It showed that she doesn't have to be only one thing. She's got multiple layers to her, which is cool. They've kind of been stressing that in the comics lately, that she's more than just the girl who punches stuff.
That's seems to be the opposite of what Marvel keeps doing. What I mentioned before, it seems to be the like angry girl syndrome they've got going on. I was trying to get into Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, and then MJ simultaneously single punches, and in one punch takes out Emma Frost and Magneto.
Huh.
And she's using area effect image, and she's using Spider-Man's power. The story being that they created a suit for her that allows her to use Spider-Man's power with some sort of siphoning technology.
Okay.
So that's not something Spider-Man would do or could do.
That's not true. Spider-Man is a lot stronger than people give him credit for.
Right, but a lot of his abilities, or a lot of the way the character is typically played is that he's very agile. He can move around and utilize the scenery and things like that to bring stuff in. He's not very much. It's just not the way that you would expect Spider-Man to finish a fight, to just run up and punch somebody in the face, especially a character like Magneto.
Oh, I'm not saying I agree with it. I don't.
Right.
But,
no, I'm not saying that he's weak by any means. No, that's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying that it's not very Spider-Man-ish. I mean, if she was borrowing the Hulk's powers, I could see that being a finale. And it just that comic I think I'm just going to put in the burner for now. I'm not going to continue forth with this. I went in for a Spider-Man comic, and it's a Mary Jane comic.
Yeah.
So
Spider-Man...
I wasn't terribly interested in her as a character. So I just, because I don't have a Spider-Man comic, and I've always kind of wanted to read through one. But
either of the main series Spider-Man books, either the one starring Miles Morales or the one starring Peter Parker, are both good reads. I've caught up with them on Unlimited, and they're pretty fun. So if you want to read a Spider book, there's also one called Spidey that's aimed at a younger audience that you'd be able to read with, like, maybe your son.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's shown any interest in comics or not.
Yeah, he is.
That one's more of just like slam bang adventure action kind of stuff.
All right.
Whereas
I'll have to take a look.
Whereas the core of the Spider-Man comic right now is got some corporate intrigue and.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I haven't jumped into it yet, because you hear people talk about it and they're like, yeah, he's Mark Zuckerberg, and
yeah, it's not untrue.
He spends a lot of time doing business and stuff, and it's like, oh, that's not really what I was after. Maybe my best bet would just be to go back and read old comics.
That's yeah. I mean, you can't really go wrong if you pick and choose the best of what he has to offer.
I checked out the new one. Was the Spectacular Spider-Man one that just came out last week?
Yeah.
And it wasn't very. It was all right, I guess. I spent a lot of time talking about other characters. I'm like, okay, I've been there before. Can't Spider-Man just kind of run around the city and beat bad guys up? Does he need to have cameos in every issue? And then it wasn't very funny. Like there was a lot of jokes, but the jokes weren't very good.
Yeah, the humor writing in Spider-Man has been kind of falling flat lately. The current writer is great at action, but he's not so great at the lighter side of things, which is one of the reasons why they've done this whole corporate intrigue storyline and making Peter more of a grown-up, and they've left a lot of the lightheartedness to Miles.
Well, that's one thing that I've enjoyed so far about the Gwenpool comic is that I don't know if they've been allowed to or what, but it does a good job of being funny. But it's not funny all the time. And sometimes it's just like dad joke funny.
Right.
But other times it's out loud chuckle funny.
It's an appropriate level of humor.
Right.
It's not constant. It's not an everyday food. It's a sometimes food.
There's some pretty good references, some older references and stuff like that, which I enjoyed. And my daughter seems to really like it.
That's cool. I've always wanted someone I could share comics with, and I've never really had that person.
Right.
So it's cool that your kids are getting into them.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the more interesting things when they become interested in something that you're interested in. It's like, all right, I got a partner.
Yeah. Let's see here. We are coming up on the end of this this terminal.
All right.
We just have the 3-stage fight with Dr. Doom, which is
wow, 3 stages.
Yeah. He was for a long time the final boss of the game, so
that makes a lot of sense.
And then they added in an update where they added the Asgard stuff, and then you go and you fight Malekith and eventually fight Loki. And Loki was actually the first playable character that you fight in the storyline. And since then, they've released quite a few.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I was looking at buying Taskmaster, and I was like, isn't it going to be weird to fight Taskmaster with Taskmaster?
Of course, there's an in-universe explanation. They kind of scrapped this early on, but the original intention of the game was that you were playing as a different version of each hero from each different universe. So your characters were from your Marvel universe.
Okay.
And then, like, there were some sort of Word of God style things where, like, Spider-Man was supposed to be the ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Peter Parker before he got smoked. Which explains why he's got he's a younger character and he's got a more youthful voice actor and all that. I just cannot seem to do damage to this guy. Oh, shit.
Man, pick up your mess. You're dropping your space-time all over the place.
Watch it.
Ugh.
It's a good thing we both brought teleporters, because teleportation is definitely a thing you want in this fight. Ah, he jumped halfway through my move. I didn't get most of my hits on him.
Yeah, my area effect damage over time don't do any damage if he keeps moving away from it.
His third stage is pretty stationary. It just hits like a truck.
How about you don't crush me? How about you just sit still?
Oh, I got all of that one. Okay, there's stage 2 down.
Doom has been defeated. Many lives have been saved today.
Jeez, I'm crow.
See what I mean? This is one of those fights where it comes in handy to have a tank. But even tanks can't stand up to that, to firepower of that magnitude.
Huh. Your taste buds can't stand flavor of that magnitude. So what's up with Crazy Cosmic Doom? What's the story about that, behind that?
Well, Doom got his hands on a cosmic cube.
Ah,
Among other things.
On your performance, I shall cherish this.
One of the things that he got his hands on was Bishop, the X-Man Bishop.
oh, okay.
And he used his mutant ability, which is to absorb and redirect energy, to manipulate the energy of the cosmic cube. And basically everyone has a bad time.
Yeah, okay. Interesting.
Alright, so you're going to want to equip that Dr. Doom medallion.
All right. The deed is done. I had a box earlier. I got an upgrade for an ultimate,
Yeah.
and then I got all willy-nilly right-clicking on it, and now I've got an upgrade for an ultimate for War Machine.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, that's great, but it would, I mean, considering that I've been playing this character the most, it would have made
Yeah.
more sense for this one.
Yeah. You can get ultimate upgrades from Adam Warlock for 200 Eternity Splinters, I believe. So, that is an option.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay. Well, we've been going for about 35 minutes. I think we're going to call it a morning right there. Thank you all for stopping by. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. And I will see you in the later times.